Hello everyone and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm bringing you guys a very big book haul. You will probably be aware if you keep up with my videos that I have stopped filming monthly book hauls, and the reason behind that is that I haven't been buying as many books. The way I'm going to do these book hauls moving forwards is that once I have 10 books that I've hauled, I can film a video and show those to you guys. So that is what I have today. I have 10 books here to talk about, and I will say I am extremely excited about each and every single one. As per usual, I have a range of different genres here and age ranges actually as well. So hopefully you guys can find a recommendation that will work for you and possibly try something new as well. With all that being said though, I am going to dive into this haul because I have a lot of books to talk about and I feel like I'm going to be here for quite a while. The first book I have to show you guys is Hunt for the Golden Scarab by M.J. Leonard, and this edition of the book is also illustrated, and the illustrator is called Manuel Sumbarak. If you couldn't tell by the cover alone, this one is a middle grade book, and I will say I have not been reading as many middle grades recently. I am currently rereading one of my all-time favourite series, which is the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness series by Michelle Paver, but other than those books, I haven't gravitated towards middle grade in a long while. However, this one drew my eye, and that is because it is set in Egypt. For those of you who don't know, I have always had a fascination with ancient Egypt, and with the gods and goddesses in particular. Now, I was extremely lucky enough to actually go to Egypt in November of last year. I went as part of Gavin from Gavin Reads at All's Trover Trip group, and honestly guys, it was such an amazing trip, and I just can't put into words how being in Egypt made me feel, and the fact that I was kind of living out my childhood dreams by actually being in that country and learning so much about the culture and the artifacts there as well. And of course, I got to see the pyramids, I got to ride on a camel, I got to see the Sphinx, I got to go to so many museums, I also got to go to loads of temples, and it was honestly such a highlight. If you guys would like to see what I got up to on this trip, I will leave it linked up above and down below because I did film a vlog whilst I was there. But soon after getting back, I of course had the holiday blues, and I was browsing on the Waterstones website where I saw this release. Now, I believe that this one came out in January, so I have owned it for a long time, but I put it in a haul pile so that I could film this video for you guys, so that I didn't forget that I wanted to show it to you, and I just can't wait to actually get to this one and put it on my shelves as well. I believe it was actually the tagline for this book that drew me in. I believe that it was marketed as Doctor Who meets Indiana Jones, which are two franchises that I just absolutely love, and so I knew I was going to buy this one before reading the synopsis because it's set in Egypt and it's also compared to two of my favourite franchises. But essentially in this one we have Sim, our main character. He and his mum never live anywhere for too long, and when dangerous strangers appear one night, Sim soon discovers why. His mum has actually been keeping a very big secret, and that is the fact that she can open doors in time. And then it just says here, running for their lives, Sim and his friends must outwit the sinister Council of Keys and be the first to find a powerful door to ancient Egypt and Nefertiti's lost tomb. They must piece together long hidden clues if they are to solve the mystery of her golden heart Scarab. Can they find it before the council finds them? Now you guys can see why I decided to get this one. I cannot wait to read this. I am actually planning on filming a reading vlog as well, where I read some more books set in Egypt. I did a part 1 of this video, I guess, right before going off to Egypt, and now that I'm back, I just want some books that will take me back to my holiday, you know? So this is definitely going to be featured in that vlog. I haven't quite decided on the other 3 books I believe I'm going to be reading, so if you have any recommendations, please do leave them down below. But as I said, I had to get this one once I saw it on Waterstones. It's actually a signed exclusive edition as well, so it has blue sprayed edges and it's also signed by the author, so I will just show you that there. So yeah, a very interesting sounding book, and the illustrations inside are also just beautiful as well. I'm going to try and show you one that is non-spoilery. There we go. So that just gives you an idea of the art style. The cover of this book as well is just beautiful, and yeah, as I said, very happy to have bought this one. I can't wait to read it, and I will let you guys know my thoughts on it in an upcoming vlog. Then next up we have Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which is the latest release in the Hunger Games universe. I am very happy to say that I have actually read this one. I read it as soon as I got my hands on it pretty much. I needed to know what was happening in this book. I needed to get in on the hype, and I'm so glad that I did. Saying that though, this book was heartbreaking. For those of you who don't know, we follow Hamish Abernathy in this book and see him get reaped into the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is essentially an awful way to keep the districts of this world in check. We have 12 districts and they were part of an uprising against the capital. Now, unfortunately, the capital won and the districts have been subjected to the Hunger Games every year as punishment ever since. So in the Hunger Games, 2 children over the age of 12 are reaped from each district, and what this means is that their names are put into a drawer and at random a tribute is selected from both the male and female sides. These 2 children are then participants in the Hunger Games, or tributes as they are called in this novel, and they are set to fight to the death in an arena against all the other tributes and fight for their lives to try and win. The winner is celebrated, they are paraded around, and they are essentially given a luxurious life after this. However, of course, you have to survive a deadly arena with 23 other people that want to kill you, so it's definitely not ideal. As I said, in this one we follow Hamish Abernathy, and if you're familiar with the Hunger Games books, you'll know that he is Katniss's mentor later on down the line, and so we see his journey in the Hunger Games throughout this book, and honestly it's one of the most heartbreaking books, and I think it's more hard-hitting because we're aware of him in the later books as well. This is a prequel to the Hunger Games series, and so seeing what he went through and seeing where that led him up to the point that we know him from the Hunger Games, it's just so sad, and it really does give so much more depth to his character, and I feel like we understand him so much more now because of that. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this story itself because it is a relatively new release. I feel like a lot of people still haven't had the chance to read it, but if you're unsure, if you didn't like the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I would definitely give this one a go, because somehow I feel like you will have a better connection to this one because, as I mentioned, we already know and I guess love Hamish from that first series. The next book I hold is The Ragpicker King by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Chronicles of Castellane series. Now, you may be familiar with this series. The first book is called Swordcatcher, and I will say I do own that first book, but I still haven't read it. It's been on many TBRs of mine over the last few months, and for some reason I keep putting it off. I really was planning on getting to it soon though, especially before the release of the second book. However, I haven't managed it, and now the second book is here. Not gonna lie to you guys, I've had this one pre-ordered for months. Essentially, as soon as I knew that it was being released, I have the Waterstones exclusive edition of the first book, and I do now have the Waterstones exclusive edition of the second one to match. This is a beautiful book as well. I will just take off the dust jacket so that I can show you. So we have this design printed onto the book itself. We also have a map, which you guys know I love in my books, and I believe, yes, there is a different map on the back end pages as well. So there is a lot of detail in this, and I really do appreciate that. I will say I did think that this edition was going to be signed by the author, but it doesn't seem to be, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. I have actually met Cassandra Clare in person though at Yelk the last time I went. It was honestly such a surreal experience. She was so lovely, and it's crazy to think that this author, who I've loved for years, was sat right next to me and was actually chatting to me. It honestly blows my mind. But as I said, I've loved Cassandra Clare's works ever since I first saw the Shadowhunters film, actually, with Lily Collins and Jamie Campbell Bower, and then as soon as I watched that I was obsessed. I learned that there was a book series that the film was based on, and then I devoured that completely. I think it was only the first 5 books in the Mortal Instruments that was out at that point, and the 6th book was about to be released, so I was able to read that whole series and read the 6th book as it was released, which was such an amazing experience. And since then I have of course read all of the other books that Cassandra Clare has written in the Shadowhunters world. This one is a little bit different though. This is Cassandra Clare's first series that is outside of the Shadowhunter universe, and I believe that it's also her first adult series as well. I think that maybe why I've put this series off is because I'm so familiar with the Shadowhunter world that I'm scared I'm not going to enjoy this one as much. However, I have seen really good reviews. I feel like it is going to be a book that I do enjoy, especially because I love Cassandra Clare's writing style, so I really do need to get a move on and prioritise this series. The first one is also on my Kindle as well, so I'm thinking if I don't get to it over the next few months, I will read it when I'm going to Florida on the plane, because it's a very long journey and I will probably be bored. So maybe it will be best to save it for that time, because I feel like I just want to get immersed in a new world, and hopefully this is going to give me just what I want. In terms of the synopsis, I honestly can't tell you too much about this series because I don't know what it's about. I have strayed away from every single synopsis and review because I do want to go into this one without any real expectations. All I've seen in terms of the reviews are what people have been posting online or what they've been commenting when I've shown the first book in the series. So I do have high hopes, but like I said, I do prefer to go into my fantasy books not really knowing anything. But the only thing I do know about the first book is that we follow our main character Cal, who is a prince's body double, which essentially means that if the prince is in danger, Cal will take his place and make sure that he's the one that's hurt rather than the prince. And during all this, he is somehow drawn into Castellan's criminal underworld where he meets the Ragpicker King. He somehow gets tangled up in a scheme by the Ragpicker King, and so himself and one of our female main characters have to work together to try and get themselves out of this predicament. Please ignore the fact that Kiwi's here scratching next to me. I feel like that's probably one of the worst synopses, and I do apologise for that, but as I said, I do have my reasons for not really knowing what this series is about. I am hoping to read it this year though, so hopefully it won't be too long until I read the first book and then the second one as well. But I'm very happy to have this one to hand. I can't wait to put it on my shelves with my other book. And again, I will give you guys a review once I have read it. The next book I have is The Will of the Many by James Islington, and I have been seeing this book everywhere. I have definitely been drawn into the hype for this one. Everyone who I follow who I've seen read it have absolutely loved it. And so I just wanted to get in on the hype. I wanted to get this beautiful hardcover edition. And so I finally bit the bullet and decided to buy myself a copy. Now, this is another instance where I feel like people don't really talk about the synopsis and they don't want to give you a synopsis for this book. I've heard that you should just dive into this without really knowing anything, and honestly, that is what I've done so far. I don't really have a clue as to what this book is about, but I trust the people that I follow and my friends online who have read this book and really enjoyed it, which is why I did end up buying it. I will say this is another beautiful book. This is the hardcover without the dust jacket on, and it looks like stone, which I really do appreciate. And then we do also have a map in there as well. So you guys know that I'm here for this already. Oh my goodness, you guys, the synopsis is so long that it continues on the back flap of the book. So I don't know if I actually want to read it to you. There is a little snippet here that I've seen actually, so I will read you this one so that I don't spoil anything for you guys or myself. It says, at the elite Catalan Academy, a young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets in this new fantasy series by internationally best-selling author of the Lycanias trilogy, James Islington. That's all we get to know, guys. I don't want to know anything else because I just don't want to taint my experience of this book. I want to dive in without any real expectations and just experience the story for the first time. And so that's all you're getting, but just know this book is so hyped. I can't wait to read it. It's actually another one that I've been putting off because I'm scared of the hype as well. I don't want to be the only person who doesn't enjoy this one, but I have faith. I do think I'm going to love it. I just need to make myself sit down and actually prioritize it. Same goes for Blood Over Brighthaven by ML Wang. I bought this one at the same time as The Will of the Many because of the same reasons essentially. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book and I was feeling a bit left out and I wanted to know why people were hyping it up so much, and so I did decide to buy myself a copy. Now I actually believe that this is a standalone as well, which definitely makes me want to prioritize it as soon as possible, but this sounds absolutely amazing. It says the first woman ever admitted to a prestigious order of mages unravels a secret conspiracy that could change the practice of magic forever in the standalone dark fantasy from the author of The Sword of Kaigan. Now I haven't read The Sword of Kaigan, but I do have it downloaded on my Kindle. If you guys are interested in picking that one up, it is available on Kindle Unlimited. So that's another one that I do hope to get to soon. I kind of want to read that one first. I don't know why, but I feel like I should, as it's the author's kind of backlist, and then dive into this newest work, because I just feel like that's the order in which I need to read it. I don't think it makes a difference, as both of these books, I believe, are standalones. So we'll see, but that is the plan anyway, moving forward. This is another one where I don't really know too much about. I don't want to know too much about it. I have just seen people absolutely love this book, and so I wanted to give it a go. The next book I bought is another one from Cassandra Clare. I honestly didn't realise that I had 2 Cassandra Clare books in this stack, but this is actually the latest release from the Cassandra Clare Kickstarter. Now, I want to say last year, or maybe even the year before, I backed a Kickstarter started by Cassandra Clare in order for her to publish 4 new novellas in the Shadowhunters universe, and this is the second book from that release that I have now received. This one is an illustrated history of notable Shadowhunters and denizens of Downworld, which is definitely a tongue-twister title, but I just thought because I love Cassandra Clare's world so much that I would back the Kickstarter, and I also, of course, get 4 lovely hardcover illustrated editions out of that as well. This is essentially what it says on the tin, so we have a load of different characters from the Shadowhunters world in here. For example, Miss Tessa Gray. If you've read the Infernal Devices series, you will know who Tessa is, but this is what we have for every single character. We have an illustration of them, we have some of their background, and I guess some kind of fun facts as well. This is going to be very hard to show you, so I am just going to take off the cover, but essentially it just has a load of different illustrations of different characters that are somehow related to the Shadowhunter world and are important. Can we take a minute to appreciate this foiling on the book itself as well, guys? This is absolutely beautiful, and we do actually have some end paper art as well, which I just love. Again, this was part of the Kickstarter release, so I don't think you can get it anywhere else. You may get a different edition of it, but I'm really glad to have this stunning edition. It's going to go really nicely with my Cassandra Clare books, and this is one that I will just pour through every now and again to get a look at the characters and, like I said, to just get a refresh on who they are, what their relevance is, especially if I'm rereading the series as well, which I do plan to do soon. Next up, I have Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney, and this one is a thriller. Now, I don't really tend to pre-order thrillers, however, something about this one drew me to it. I think it was the stunning cover. I will just give you guys a closer look. It just looks so beautiful. And when I read the synopsis, I just wanted to pick it up and give it a read, essentially. It says, author Grady Green is having the worst, best day of his life. Grady calls his wife as she is driving home to share some exciting news. He hears Abby slam on the brakes and get out of the car. Then, nothing. When he eventually finds her car by a cliff edge, the headlights are on, the driver door is open, her phone is still there, but his wife has disappeared. A year later, Grady is still overcome with grief and desperate to know what happened to Abby. He can't sleep and he can't write, so he travels to a tiny Scottish island to try to get his life back on track. There he sees the impossible, a woman who looks exactly like his missing wife. Wives think their husbands will change, but they don't. Husbands think their wives won't change, but they do. That is all it says, and honestly, I want to dive in and figure out what on earth is going on. I love this type of mystery as well, where we have uncertainty as to the identity of different characters. It's also an isolated setting, and I really do want to visit some of the Scottish islands as well, so I just think it's going to be very dark, very atmospheric, it's going to be right up my street, and that is essentially why I pre-ordered this one. I only tend to pre-order thrillers when they are on sale. I can't actually remember if I paid full price for this one. I feel like I did, but honestly, I'm not mad about it because, as I said, the cover is beautiful, the story sounds so intriguing, and this is one that I will hopefully read and fly through very quickly. The next book I have to show you guys is The Dark Mirror by Samantha Shannon. I believe that this is the 5th book in the Bone Season series by this author, and I am very ashamed to say that I haven't read a single one of these books. I have tried reading the Bone Season before. I really loved it, but for some reason I put it down without finishing it and then I never went back to it. But it's always been a series that I just have been drawn to, and so I have pre-ordered the next book in this gorgeous new edition. Now, of course, I had to get this edition to match the others, but I can't tell you anything about it, unfortunately, because I don't really know the synopsis of the first book. All I know is that we are set in a futuristic world in which our main character is clairvoyant, and in that world it is illegal for anyone to be a clairvoyant, and so she's breaking the law just by existing, and one day she gets drawn into a situation that will change the course of her life, and she needs to figure out what she is going to do in order to get out of it. I'm aware that that is one of the worst synopses ever. I really do apologise, but I am planning on reading these books very soon, so hopefully I can give you a better idea of what the story is about then. I am planning on filming a reading vlog for this series as well. Please do let me know if you would like it to be spoiler filled or spoiler free, but as of now I can't tell you too much about this one in particular. It is a massive book though. It has a gorgeous cover. I am sure to enjoy it because I did like the Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and if the writing style is similar in this one, then I am sure to enjoy it. The next book I have is Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clarke, which is a gorgeous Waterstones exclusive edition. Now the cover itself is absolutely beautiful, but the stenciled edges are the star of the show. Look at this, you guys. How beautiful are those? We also have some flowers on the top and bottom as well that I just think are so striking. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was definitely the cover and the stenciled edges that made me pick this book up. Wow, this is another one that is just absolutely stunning. We have this design printed onto the book itself, and again, the colour just matches perfectly with the stenciled edges. And we also have a map on the end pages inside. And I'm definitely sensing a theme here, guys, but I pre-ordered this one a few months ago, and because of that, I don't actually remember what this book is about. So I'm just going to have a quick glance at the synopsis, but essentially we have a brutal war between demons and humanity that has raged across Europe for over a century, and our two main characters, Celine and Jules, are both elite soldiers who are participating in this war. It says, when their paths cross despite initial distrust, then unwelcome attraction, Jules and Celine discover a terrible secret at the heart of the Holy Vatican City. Soon Jules is forced to question everything he's ever known, including himself, and Celine, unable to ignore her growing feelings for Jules, must make an impossible choice between love and duty. Now I remember why I pre-ordered this one. I've actually been to the Vatican City. It is such an incredible place to visit. If you ever get the chance, I would highly recommend. And so having that as a setting in this book is just so intriguing to me, and I want to see how it ties into the story and the overall mystery in this book as well. I will say I'm not a massive lover of romance in my books, you guys know this, but because it's in this kind of urban but fantastical setting, I'm hoping that I'm going to really enjoy it, and hopefully the romance is secondary to the plot, because that is when I do tend to love my fantasy romances. The next book I have to show you guys is Cursebound by Sarah El Arifi, and this is the second book to Feybound. I don't know if this series has a particular name, but I read Feybound when it first came out. I can't remember how long ago now. I don't know if it was at the start of last year or the year before, and I wouldn't say that I loved it, but I did enjoy it, and I was intrigued enough to buy the second book and continue on with the story. Now this one does look different to my edition of the first book because I actually have the Fairy Loot edition of the first book. However, I didn't want to spend that much money on the second book, mainly because of the reasons that I've just listed. So I did go for the Waterstones exclusive edition instead, which is still gorgeous. It's just not the pastel-y vibe that my first book has, but either way, I do really like this one. I wasn't willing to spend too much money on an edition that I wasn't sure if I was going to keep, and so I did decide to go for this one, and it is also signed by the author as well, so I'm not really missing out on too much when it comes to the special edition elements. This one also has a map, which you guys know I appreciate, and I just think this edition is so beautiful. As I said, it does look a little bit strange next to the first book that I own because that one is very light and bright and pastel-y, and this one is very dark, but I'll get over it. I just wanted to carry on with this story without having to spend a ridiculous amount of money. I don't want to tell you too much about the first book because I tend to ramble on when I try and summarize books and then I reveal a bit too much. But in that first book, we follow our main character Yiran, and she is a commanding general in an army. One day though, she makes a decision that leads to a lot of people being killed, and so she is actually outcast. Now her sister Lettel, who is training to become a seer or a mage, decides that she's going to go and follow her, and so Yiran sets out in the wilderness with no real plan except to get away, and Lettel soon follows, determined to get to her sister. Now what they don't expect to find is an entrance to the Fae court, because the Fae have seemingly disappeared for centuries and no one knows that this place exists, and so Yiran finds this out and has to battle with the urge to stay there, learn more about the Fae and the person that she's falling for, but also taking this information back to her boss, who is also her lover. It's very complicated, guys, but a really interesting story. I do love the setting. The only thing I don't like in this one is that we have creatures who are killed for their skin, because their skin has magical properties, and every time that happens. It just made me so sad. So I will caution you guys for that, but it is a fantastical setting. We do have wars and animals that get caught in the crossfire, so please do be aware of that diving in. But as I said, I really did like the first book. It's not my favourite book ever, but I'm hoping that this second book will give me more information about the Fae and the world in which we are set. And of course I'll also be following our characters again, who are definitely interesting. There were a few characters in the first book that we found a lot of stuff out about by the end, so I am intrigued to see what happens with them and where they are going to go moving forward. And then the last book I have to show you guys is Immortal by Su Lin Tan, and this was part of the adult Fairy Loot subscription, but I can't remember for which month. I believe it was January, and I do believe I have an unboxing video for this one and another book that I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I will leave that linked up above and down below in case you want to check that out. But this is another gorgeous edition. I love the stenciled edges. It's just such a pretty book. I will say the original cover is more of a purple colour, and I do think I prefer that. But in terms of a special edition as a whole, this one is just gorgeous. So I will give you a little look at this book. We have this artwork printed on the book itself. We have this artwork on the front end pages and this artwork on the back end pages. We also have this beautiful map, which I'm not sure if this is actually in every edition or not. And then as well as that, we have a bound in letter from the author. So all in all, this is a beautiful edition. I will say though, I'm a little bit hesitant to dive into this one because I did read Daughter of the Moon Goddess and Heart of the Sun Warrior by this author, and I really didn't like them. I liked the first book a lot more than the second book, but I just didn't like the way that the second book went and the decisions that our characters made. I thought it was just a bit silly, and so I'm not sure about this one and whether or not I am going to enjoy it. It's not a long synopsis, so I will just read it out to you. It says, a deadly betrayal, a dangerous alliance, a fight for survival. When Leanne ascends the throne of Tenaxia, she vows to end her kingdom's obligation to the fickle immortals who once protected them. She must learn their secrets to protect her people, but to do this, she will have to forge a tenuous alliance with the one she should fear and mistrust the most, the ruthless god of war. A treacherous attraction ignites, but dark forces are closing in, and to save her people from an unspeakable fate, Leanne must risk everything, even her heart. So I'm not too sure. The synopsis doesn't really make me want to read this either, so I'm just a bit hesitant. If you guys have read this, please leave me your spoiler-free thoughts down in the comments. I feel like I may give it a go, and if I don't like it, then at least I'll know, won't I? But something is making me extremely hesitant to dive in, so I'm not sure when I'm actually going to get to this one. I feel like it all depends whether it comes up in a reading challenge that I'm doing soon on my channel. It's going to be a new thing. I may feature it in a specific vlog, I'm not too sure, but as of now I'm not the most excited to read it, so I am putting it off. So there we have it guys, these are the latest 10 books that I've added to my collection. As I said, I have a range of different genres and age ranges, so hopefully I will enjoy at least most of them. I definitely am excited for all of them, but some more than others, as I will have mentioned. If you guys have read any of the books that I've talked about today and would like to share your thoughts with me, please make sure to leave me a spoiler-free comment down below. And if you are still here but you don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please go ahead and leave me a pink flower as the emoji of the video. I feel like it's very fitting with this being the last book that I hauled, and it's also such a beautiful stenciled edge. I know I say it all the time, but seeing you guys comment the emoji of the video truly does mean the world to me. It blows me away that you guys watch these all the way through. So if you are still here but don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please go ahead and comment that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. But that is it from me today guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!